Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. So 7/12 of the way to Christmas. It's what did I buy and channel update and store update and everything else update 2025, July of 2025. 7/12, that one always bothers me just because you can't solve it into a nice decimal. So I actually have notes for myself today because I got a lot of topics I want to talk about. And you'll notice if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, a what did I buy video where I'm actually filming myself instead of filming down at the desk here. Yes, that's because I bought nothing for putting back long term investment this month. Now, lots of reasons for that. One is Pokemon market is still insane, absolutely crazy. I had someone ask me if I thought that the Destined Rivals half booster boxes would help the market. And let me tell you, when I first saw that Pokemon USA was now releasing a half booster box where it's this like it is an actual product made by Pokemon USA. They just took the Destined Rivals booster boxes and they made another version of it with the same artwork, but it's 18 packs in one stack. And no, I do not think that will help the market because the market has a demand for a certain amount of cards. And simply selling them in smaller bits is not going to change that. So maybe a few extra people will be able to get their hands on some cards who otherwise would not have been able to get their hands on any cards, but it will not help the fact that the market wants 20 billion Pokemon cards this year. And Pokemon USA is just having trouble producing them. So selling them in smaller and smaller amounts, no, it will not help long term. So, uh, the magic market is getting as crazy. It's nearly there. And I put a message out to my patrons a couple nights ago about just being careful in this market. It is unbelievable going through and seeing some of the boxes and the collector boxes, particularly, and how some of them have just spiked up in price almost parabolic in the last couple of weeks over, say, the last 2 to almost as many as 6 weeks for some products. But there are collector boxes that have just spiked unbelievable amounts in a couple of weeks. And some of them it's on a dollar basis, like Final Fantasy collector boxes went up another $200. Yeah, if they start at 1200, they go up another $200. That's 16% in a couple weeks. Over in the TCG market, that just kind of is boring. But other ones we've seen Kaldheim collector boxes, the poster child for terribly engineered and then overprinted collector boxes. Kaldheim collector boxes went up 25% in the last couple of weeks. So this market is screaming that it is overstretched, that it is having trouble. Okay. Things are just going up so fast. Now, I did Friday seal deals yesterday and I talked about there are some collector boxes out there that really do just have very, very, very thin market depth. And the reality of that is those prices are going to continue to go up. The more interesting topic is what happens if, let's say, the stock market melts down, the economy melts down, the TCG market melts down, the magic market melts down, the collector box market melts down. All of it just goes to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, those prices are going to drop. But, if we see the stock market shed, I don't know, 30% in just, say war were declared and it sheds 30%, those collector boxes, I'm afraid, will not shed 30% because people rightfully expect that the quantity of them left in the world will continue to go down every day. Markets are forward looking and they'll say, those should probably lose some value, but maybe not 30% of their value. So it's risky. It's very risky when you look at boxes that have jumped so high so fast. And that's something I always emphasize. And back 6 months ago, when we were seeing a lot of Sword and Shield era Pokemon booster boxes jumping up like that, I was warning people, hey, we should expect pullbacks. We should expect sideways consolidation for a while. And so I'm wary of telling anyone to jump in at these kind of prices for those boxes that have shot up so high so fast. And that's why I didn't put anything back for the long term this last month in July. So I've been buying a lot for the coming card store. I've been buying a lot for my patrons for the future, for the monthly sales list, for potential sealed sales in the future, for things like that. But I'm looking for bigger discounts to market than normal for things like that. I'm not happy just paying the kind of prices I might have paid 5 months ago for Magic products to get them. I'm looking for bigger discounts because the downside risk right now, in my opinion, is so much larger than the upside potential. And to me, this market looks like, man, if I were to buy, say, I don't know, $550 Ixalan box. See, I cursed it now, so I can't sell anybody Ixalan boxes for a while. If I were to buy a $550 Ixalan collector box right now, I would expect in most possible futures that thing goes down to 500, maybe 450 over the next 6 months. More likely, then it goes up to 700 in the next 6 months. So that's how I'm seeing the market, looking at the valuations, looking at the parabolic moves that so many products are making so recently. And that's why I didn't put anything back for the long term that I can show you this month. There are some pre order things going on, but again, those will be coming at some point. The market is just absolutely nuts right now. Magic has joined Pokemon. And like I always warn everybody, it can go on like this a lot longer. Now, it becomes more and more difficult to defy gravity the longer the market does it, but it can go on for a long time. So, that was my what did I buy in July 2025. And I'm going to roll this in now with channel update, sealed sale updates, store updates, final trade updates, all the rest of it. As far as the channel goes, YouTube, it's going great. I love making YouTube videos. I love publishing them here, and it's always the gateway to the rest of my business, so nothing is going to change there. No, I have not had any great epiphanies in the last 6 months since I talked about making videos on YouTube. It is what it is. I haven't really seen any problems with the algorithms recently. One hilarious thing I'm noticing is the AI thumbnail metagame is really, really getting ramped up. I mean, there's some channels that are just making exquisite thumbnails with AI of just crazy stuff. I saw one the other day. I think it was like a bear, and he was like carrying a lion in its mouth, attacking it. And I was like, that is just wonderful. So I have worked with AI a little bit to try to get it to generate me some thumbnails, mostly on the thigh gap side, but I just haven't had anything that I thought was good enough, was funny enough, that was, kind of the right kind of sense of humor for me. So I haven't used any of it yet. Sealed Sale 27 was this past Thursday. It was the Urza Saga booster packs. I think the discounts were between 20 and $30 per booster pack. They normally run about 250 bucks on TCG Player. So if you ordered on that, most of the orders went out on Friday. That's yesterday. The rest will probably have to go out on Monday because I didn't get time to start packaging orders today until after the post office was already done accepting new packages for the Saturday. Yes, post office closes early on Saturday. Store update. So, my realtor and I, we looked at a space, golly, almost 2 weeks ago now. We looked at a space, we met the landlord. Landlord seemed nice. The space was pretty good. The location was wonderful. It was an absolutely great location. It was about 850 square feet. That's a little short of 100 square meters for you people not in Freedom Land. And it was a good space. I could have made it work. There were some concessions in order to do it, but then when it came time for the landlord to give us a contract to review, he only wanted to make it a 1 year lease with no renewals. And I looked at that and I thought, I've been doing this final trade thing for 4.5 years now. I've grown the YouTube channel, I've grown the Patreon program, I've grown the revenue. Everything is going wonderful in the business. The pace of growth of sales in the business is unbelievable. I'm not signing a 1 year lease. And then a year from now, and the landlord even said, I'm happy to renegotiate after a year. And it's like, yeah, but that would suck for me. Like I'd literally have a year of investment, improving the property, working there, having all the stuff from like, you know, uh sales tax permits set up there, all my shipping set up there, all my utilities, everything set up at that location, and then I have to go into a negotiation with the guy for a renewal from the worst position of weakness, where it's like, okay, if we can't come to a deal, if I can't concede enough to him at that 1 year point, he goes with someone else, and then I have to spend 300 hours moving my business. And so that was not acceptable. I'm looking for bare minimum 2 years. I'd prefer three, and then I'd like renewal options on top of that. So somebody just offering me only a 1 year lease, no renewals. And, he kind of tried to put the pressure on. He said, he had another showing who wanted the place. And I basically told my realtor, tell the guy to give it to him, that 1 year was not good. I like my realtor. He's doing a great job. We've looked at well, we haven't gone to look at the places yet. We're looking at them in terms of we have them on the list where he's researching them. It is amazing. And maybe you folks in the real estate industry have a comment on this, but what's amazing to me is in downtown Arlington, and this is Arlington, Texas, not Arlington, Virginia. In downtown Arlington, Texas, there are so many vacant spots. There are a bunch of office buildings that are just abandoned. Like, there's been no one in them for years. All the electrical has been ripped out by the homeless folks, and they are just abandoned buildings. There are so many commercial spots in Arlington that have been empty for 10 plus years. And yet it's like pulling teeth to get landlords to contact you back. It's like the landlords just don't care. It's like, and I know we went through 15 years of NERP and ZERP and 15 years of free money, cheap money being allocated very poorly, and real estate companies saying, you know what? I can take a 3% loan to buy that property that goes up in value by 7% per year. So my loan to value ratio constantly gets better from me doing nothing. And they could just pay interest on the loan, carry it forward, and their financial position on the books kept improving. They never even needed a tenant. And 15 years of that sickness building up in the market. And this, I think, is what we're seeing. It's that, there's one spot that I really like. It's actually like just across the street from the place I turned down a couple days ago. It's basically across the street. It's like a half block down but still wonderful location to have a card store in between a bunch of restaurants. And the gentleman who owns it literally refuses to meet with us. And my realtor and his firm that he works for has a relationship with that landlord. They did an appraisal for him a couple years ago. They know the guy. So they've gotten in touch with him and said, look, we've got a guy here who owns a business. He's run it for 4.5 years. He's literally retiring from an engineering career. Like, he has his shit in order. Will you meet with him? And the landlord just says, no, I'm just not interested in renting the spot. It's been empty for years. And it's like that everywhere. It's just like pulling teeth to get landlords to get back to you. I'm begging them to take my money. So that's been frustrating so far. Maybe it's going to take a while longer. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if I need to just be like, if I just need to tell the realtor that, like, if he can actually contact the landlords, just tell them I'll give the landlord like $500 for showing up and showing me the place. It's just ridiculous. So nobody wants to show you the places. There's all these office buildings that have been empty forever. I I wish if my position was a couple more years advanced, if I were a couple years wealthier, a couple years more sorted out on everything, I would be looking at buying a place. But it's such a shame because I I drive past these office buildings in downtown Arlington that have been abandoned. They've been stripped of their copper wiring. It's a derelict shell of what used to be a capital asset for a business, and it hurts me. Like, it pains me to see these former capital assets fallen into disrepair and no businesses being able to use them to create value and generate wealth. So that's irritating. Okay. Sealed sales for next week, number 28 and 29. I have not even begun looking at what I might list for those. I will let you guys know in the next couple of days. It will be Tuesday and Thursday as normal. The sealed sales are going great, but the insanely hot market is, I believe, starting to ward people off from buying in general. Like I said, I did not buy anything this last month for long-term investment because the market is so insane. So the sealed sales, I'm looking at alternative products. That's why I brought out the Urza Saga booster packs to see, hey, these are not spiking up in price right now. Maybe these are something that people could get excited for when collector boxes are absolutely going nuts. So, two more sealed sales next week as normal. Trying to get into the store, guys. I got a lot of stuff prepared. I've got a lot of plans I've already made, but even on the day that I sign a lease and I get keys in my hand, it's still going to be 200 things I've got to do, and probably 150 of them I cannot even imagine at this point. So, lots of work coming. Hopefully, there will be some big news on the career front sometime soon. Like I've said in the past, something is going to break at some point, either with me or on the other side of the table. So I'll leave it at that. If you want to support me, if you want to support Final Trade One, join the Patreon. That's the best thing. Hey, you'll get in on sealed sales, you get in on the monthly sales list, you get in my monthly newsletter for my patrons, and you can message me and actually get answers to your questions, your thoughts, your ideas, all the rest of it. Um, if you want to support and you're a patron, go check out the monthly sales list. Brett, thanks a lot for making that order. The boxes are in the mail, I believe. Yeah, they went out yesterday. So they're in the mail and you should get tracking updates. Patron Brett bought enough to move the needle. So let's just say that. Thanks a lot. Um, Also, if you're a patron already, join in the sealed sales or at least check them out and see if it's something you would like. So, still getting okay uptake with that. Very pleased with the results. If you want a hat, there is a PayPal payment link in the description down below. You can buy a hat. They are $25 shipped to your house in the US. Or if you are a patron, you can add one in anytime you are buying sealed product from me, and it's only $20 then. And lastly, if you want to support Final Trade and you don't want to spend any other money on anything, but you still want to support me, check out the Amazon affiliate links down below. It is a site-wide Amazon affiliate links. Amazon is the only one I'm still doing affiliate work with because they are the most generous and the easiest to work with. If the volume gets up high enough, I can get all the way up to like 9 and 10% commissions. It's unbelievable the amount I can get when the volumes are high enough. You have to basically climb a scale over the course of a couple months, and then when the volumes drop off, you fall back down that scale over the course of a couple months. But with fewer and fewer Amazon dumps from Watsy recently, I've fallen down that scale. It's fine. I'll get back up there at some point. But the market is so nuts that even Watsy does not need to dump like crazy on Amazon the way they did for the last 4 years. So if you want to support, do that. It costs you nothing and it kicks back money from Jeff Bezos to me. I think that's about everything. It's going wonderful, and I'm looking forward to everything coming down the pipeline. I think everything's going to keep getting better, and man, I'm very, very excited. Thank you, everyone, for coming along with me for these last up to 4.5 years for those of you who have been around that long. But as long as you've been around here, thanks for supporting me. And to all my patrons, thank you very much for the ongoing monthly support, participation in the monthly sales list, sealed sales, sending me your questions, your ideas, your thoughts, and your kind words. Thanks a lot so much. So we'll keep moving forward and making it happen every day. Man, I'm really looking forward to Spider Man and the craziness and the emotional anger and everything else over those collector boxes because at close to $900 today, I think they are still a deal. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade, and bye, I